Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of people.
This thread is about discussing the alien interview footage leaked by a man known as Victor in 1997. Even though I personally don't think this footage is real, it's never been debunked. If it was a hoax, it would have taken a team of about a dozen people to produce it and quite a large sum of money. No one involved has come forward and claimed to have helped produce it over 25 years later. I doubt it's real, since he doesn't say anything that we couldn't have known or speculated about before 1997. The old argument from ignorance fallacy. It must be real because nobody has proven it to be false. Pic of William Lustish mouth raping the alien puppet. The claim is video have a chance to be real. Not must be real. Why are Lustish's fingers cut off and warped? Also, the eye and head shape of that model doesn't match the footage. Also, what is the source of the image? Where did it come from? Who posted it? Why does that puppet have such dark markings on its forehead? Those weren't present in the video. An abductee should be able to say if that one is real or not. I don't like the dark room. Grays do not need to be kept in the dark. After finding out about military disinformation agents like Richard Doty tasked with hoaxing and feeding false information to the UFO community, everything back then and now I believe is government fabrication to mess with people, throw them off from something far greater. The eyes are light sensitive, dim, or dark is preferred for them. That's why the UFO community needs its own tech to make its own observations. Funnily enough, they are getting infiltrated as well. The puppet does not look like the video at all. The puppet has ridges and coloration. The video looks smooth without any discoloration. An actual puppeteer that's worked on some pretty damned good practical effects movies watched the video and can't figure out how some of the scenes were done. By the way, retard. Go back. The inside of the craft are usually glowing white, though. At 13:39 it video mentions Jim Dilatozo. Dude was my neighbor when I was a kid, total weirdo. Victor really sounds like a twat. Especially that last interview at the end. What a fucking crybaby. Really comes off as a well-actually type of autist that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. What a F-slur. The body of the puppet in that picture doesn't match the one in the video either. When the medical staff come in and examine the creature, a light shines across its chest area and you can see it's much smoother and not as bony and thin as the puppet in that photo. The alien in the video does look like this one. It does. This photo comes from somewhere in Mexico if I remember correctly. I'd like to find my information on it. Dumbass, haven't you played Deus Ex? They're transgenics, not aliens. They were always false and homosexual. Typically they are dimmed for human visibility, or vice versa, they are brightened for human visibility but dim. I am inevitable. Are we really going to judge half zombies for going to war against evil zombies? I've noticed the alien never moves its arms or brings its hand up to its mouth when it's in distress and seemingly coughing. Either the puppet makers couldn't get the arms working correctly or moving in a convincing way, or the alien has his arms restrained in the chair and is unable to move them. If it did have its arms restrained, I wonder why Victor never made mention of it. Maybe he was waiting for someone to ask a question about the creature's arms, but no one ever did. It would explain why Victor gets so upset seeing it, because not only is the creature dying but it's also restrained like a criminal or an animal. I've seen this a couple times and brought up the fact Victor is actually Vladimir Tertysky. His silhouette match explains in the same wise manners of Vladimir when considering the information presented but not owning a sense of being necessary close to correction. In the time this was made, Vladimir Tertysky was becoming very present as a trustable source for the Art Bell show in which he was featured or even called to get interviews. He did a lot of legwork and stumble across very credible sources and pictures. Vladimir Tertysky discovered even the departure of Odin 7 to the manned mission to Mars in cooperation with the Hayabusa space program around 1942. It was greenlit by Japan and Germany, and it was a kamikaze joint operation. I have pinned this important clip on my Twitter profile and made a few threads quickly derailed by glowies before. People who worked with animatronics at the time were amazed when they saw the video, outright saying that it's the most advanced and expensive animatronic they ever saw. More like asshole interview. Thanks, check the other clips too. I always go hard on that Agartha breakthrough society good shit. For context on the video, the files of the report were found on a Robert S. Sepper video talking about Vladimir and showing videos about Odin's departure, which is easily one of my faves out there to put you up to speed of all the what the fuckery of odd shit the Vril Thule. Black Sun Society and NHRB were doing around 1944. Around the mark of 32-34 you will find another weird letter sent by Maria Orsic talking about how nobody was staying here, and they were leaving in the Odin 7 basically. I would assume that if the expedition to Mars, which actually just got to little beyond the moon, got spooked, decided they had enough to build a base on the moon and easy make several more trips back, which end up in create the Lunar Command Nachwaffen. They started developing more technology and finally departed from the moon to Mars. I suspect that by 1989, when the Phobos incident happened, the very Phobos 2 inside it is literally first recorded traces of an Andromeda Gerat. But they found something interesting in Mars and the size of the initial Andromeda Gerat, which were the missing 200 U-boats that half went to Agartha through the subglacier caves that lead to the inner oceans of Earth, proven existent. And these very important KGB documents also unveiled the Karlhauser maps where they charted the inner oceans. If there is not really alien interference on Earth, then the Germans are perhaps the first spacefarer race and legit breakthrough society behind the Phobos anomaly. In Mars, gravity seems less dense, thus the 300 miles long buildings and towers there, and thus why they did a mothership larger than Phobos itself. Here is the only clip I have found online about what the Glonies will rapidly call the Phobos anomaly, a photograph error. You're right. 22 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide object. See the Mir space station on the clip next to this gargantuan Sovereign class type of craft, also seen multiple times in the present and being actively tracked by rovers on Atfleur because they know the only visible way to trace Mercury propulsion engines is on infrared. This is widely proven by the Chilean UFO incident that tracks an object that blasts a giant plume of mercury to rev up propulsion, as in Pickrell. Fucking save and download that video is always hard to find, or they memory hole it real quick. To me is the most compelling evidence and follow-up to this first contact. The Vrils were in contact with other entities from Aldebaran too. It seems they provided the information to make the blueprints of the first Vrils, but I think is just making the myth more pretty than it is. In reality, they found the Vedas about the construction, operations, and use of mercury in the Vimanas when the NHRB explored the Himalayas, also seeking Shambhala. They work in conjunction with the Green Men Society to find the maps that pointed them to zones not previously covered in ice. By the time this tape was made, he already had a decade living in the States, easy to rid of his thirsty Russian accent, and plus he acts sus when saying he does not want to expose himself. Also, Vladimir is common clue name for victors to slip onto without entirely revealing is him. Like a wink wink if it turned out to be a hoax to make him look like a typical UFO loon like Greer or a total gatekeeper like Corbell and Elizondo. Gravity being less dense in Mars allows them to construct this ginormous mothership. I also suspect this is the very same thing the Pentagon will want to gaslight us with, saying a mothership is approaching our solar system. The Nazi dreadnoughts might never approach Earth because the build will make the structure collapse as soon as it enters our atmosphere, which is pretty fucking large and extends beyond the moon according to new findings. Thus why we will likely never see these alleged motherships coming near Earth unless they're really fucking advanced aeronautics not belonging to any known intelligence yet met. I also stumbled with the MJ-12 interesting scan where they talk about non-alien vehicle parts already retrieved. Solar Warden is perhaps an offspring of this. What I also believe is that long ago through the Russians the Americans are into the SSP, but what the lunatics of Gaia like Randy saying he served for over 2 decades. Oversaw space wars for other races and the like. I believe is a metric ton of bullshit. These people would be horrors of humanity if all that shit was happening. They are possibly heroes of a breakthrough society. But non-terrestrial agents as described in the file about ship-to-ship transfer log hacked by McKinnon. That Super Soldier 20 and back better be a hoax. The series Cavalier guy seems somewhat coherent though, so we will see one day if it was all bullshit. I think that one is an X-Files prop, with the picture degraded with enough artifacts to make it hard to see details.
Looking for something to meet your photonic need? Radlight has laser diodes, remote control drones with lasers mounted on them, USB chargeable laser pens, rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, high-powered lasers that can ignite matches, cat toys. Hell, if you got enough money, they'd probably sell you a Jewish space laser. Welcome to Radlight. Point with precision, present with confidence. Visit us at radlight.dev. Tell them the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge sent you.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Catch the live streams on Rumble. Listen to text-to-speech stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube.